Okay, let's now return to the issue of youth crime, and we know that it is a major problem, particularly in the Northern Territory and Queensland, where the Palaszczuk government has come under fire for not doing enough to tackle the growing number of violent juvenile offenders. Now, Sky News will take an in-depth look at the issue in a special airing this Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Now, our investigations reporter Jonathan Lea will speak with victims of youth crime. He'll also look at potential solutions. Now, he's about to join me on the desk, but first, let's hear from some of the victims that he's interviewed.
I got up, didn't see anything. They must have been hiding in the house. It's kind of hard to talk about. It just brings it all up again. Now I can't really get to sleep at night because I'm too scared to close my eyes.
There's a CCTV camera right there, a high definition camera. They murdered my son here. He died, 300 metres away from a hospital.
And then we saw on the news that a young couple had been killed, walking their dogs, and as soon as I heard that,
we had a fair idea.
I knew it was them.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to watch. It's unimaginable. Jono, thank you so much for joining me. They've got so much courage in speaking out, don't they?
Erin, always happy to join you. Incredible interviews to be a part of. To sit there and talk to grieving parents about the incidents that really, in effect, have destroyed their lives. But they're doing so because they want to make substantial change in Queensland. We know when it comes to crime, youth crime is overrepresented. Cairns, Townsville, Toowoomba, regional communities which in many regards have residents feeling like they're under siege. It sounds like exaggeration, but I tell you it's not when you talk to a number of people who live there. One gentleman showed us the vision of young youths trying to break into his home in Guy Fawkes masks. He made the point that they were walking around in bare feet, not because they didn't have any money, but because they've worked out that once they get inside the home, you can't hear them when they walk around on tiles without shoes. It gives me chills just talking about it, but it's what people are living through at the moment. Youths armed with knives, machetes, trying the front door first and then spending hours in an effort to get in, more often than not to get the car keys. As a criminologist told me, they used to see youths or juveniles targeting homes while you're out, while you're at work. They wanted to get cash, maybe jewellery, perhaps some food on the way out. Now they wait until you're home and in bed so that they can get inside when they've got everything they want within reach. The car keys especially, while your children are asleep. It's traumatic.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make in terms of how brazen it is. You're right. It feels like traditionally it would almost, there'd be an element of fear of consequence. Now that element of fear seems to have completely gone, and it's not like victims have been silent. You know, they're pleading for help, but it just continues to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, and part of this is because of the Youth Justice Act, the frustration that detention is a last resort, the frustration that youths are continually allowed back on bail and allowed to breach their bail. Now, Anastasia Palaszczuk has tried to amend that legislation. That's been brought on by work by the Queensland opposition, but those we've spoken to want the legislation to be significantly changed, to go much, much further. And perhaps we can talk about some of those measures. They're controversial in some regards, but those we spoke to proposed ideas like concurrent sentences. Instead of just giving somebody 60% of the lead sentence and then maybe seeing them get 6 years for murder, knowing that they also committed another 10 or 15 offences, perhaps giving the 60% of all of those offences. So you give them real jail time. Detention is a last resort, getting rid of that. They make the point that if you have that, in effect, there is no serious deterrent for those committing real crime or being armed with a knife. Minimum sentences, making sure that if you stole a car, you would get a minimum 1-2 years. If you killed someone as a juvenile, you would also get a guaranteed minimum sentence. And even the idea of serious crime identification. As it stands currently, you're not allowed to know those who've committed these crimes, but parents say they want to know who these kids are so they can stop their children hanging out with the bad kids. And it's a fair point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you entirely. It's controversial, but my whole thing is just get tough. We've got to be tougher. Thank you so much for your time, Jonathan Lea. Really appreciate it. Youth Crime and Punishment. It's on this Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Thank you so much.